Leetcode problem 9. You had to go to YouTube for this. Look, McDonald's is still higher. Given an integer x, return true if x is a palindrome and false otherwise. Now, there's a very, very simple way to do this, but your interviewer might not like this response. So we're going to go over two, especially because if you read here, it says, follow up, could you solve it without converting the integer to a string? All you out there who already did this problem, but you did it with converted into a string, I bet you didn't catch that. Well, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to do both ways. So first, let's do the easy way, at least in JavaScript, and that's converting this to a string. So it's very simple. All we have to do is return the output of x to string if that's equal to the reversed order of x to string. So again, we're going to do the same, use the toString function because we're originally given an integer, if you recall. And now we're going to want to split it, so we could of course reverse it. So now we're going to use the reverse function, and now after we reverse it, we could again join. And by just writing it out like this, it's just going to give us true or false. So let's see how this goes. Okay, phenomenal. It looks like it's working. But your interviewer might say that's not acceptable. He might say you can't use reverse. But don't worry, I got your back. I'm going to show you a different way you could do this problem. In fact, I actually already made a video on how to do this because it was necessary for one of the medium problems. And for this reason, I also would advise you to do Leetcode problems in order. Because you'll notice as you do these Leetcode problems, the skills you accumulate from some of the earlier problems come in handy for later problems. It's designed to be completed in the chronological order. So that's just my advice. Obviously, you don't have to take it, but I would recommend doing so. So with that said, let's start with this other way. And this way, as they say, could you solve it without converting the integer to a string? Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to show you. So first, let's create some variables. We want there to be a reversed variable, and we're going to start it at 0. It's very important we start it at 0. Now, to make things neat, we're going to use a placeholder variable. For x, we'll call it normal, and it's just going to be equal to x. Now we're going to need a while. We're going to be doing this all while x is greater than 0. Or let's use the placeholder, while normal is greater than 0. And if you look at these examples here, you'll also see how they're treating the negative. They're treating the negative just like a character. So right off the bat, if you see a negative sign, it's not a palindrome, because they're showing you right here that if it's a palindrome flipped, it's 121 and then the minus at the end. So obviously that wouldn't work, and that's why it's okay that we're using a while loop where we're checking while normal is greater than 0, because right off the bat, if it's negative, that's fine. We don't want that. That should be false regardless. But if you go back to some of my earlier videos, you'll see there is a way on how to reverse it and keep it negative. But that's not for today's video. Anyway, what we now want to do is create a variable for the last digit of x. We're essentially going to be stripping each last digit one by one from x and putting it into reversed in order. How are we going to do that? By using the cmod operator. So let's create a variable, call it last. Last will be equal to normal cmod 10. This way, it's going to give us the remainder of whatever it is divided by 10. So let's say it's 121 divided by 10. This operator just gives us the value of the remainder. So in this case, it would just be 1. And that's what we want. That's perfect. We just want that last value here. But now, the next time we go around in this loop, obviously, we don't want to be checking 1. We want it to be 2 that we're taking from it. So that means we need to do something to this number here, which is normal. So what are we going to do to it? We're going to divide it by 10. And because we're keeping it as an integer, it's not going to make it a decimal. You're just going to be able to get rid of that last digit. It's that simple. So now normal will be equal to normal divided by 10. Now, some languages are a little bit different, but in JavaScript at least, this is going to try to give you that decimal back, and you don't want that. So to avoid that, we're going to keep it as an integer by just doing parse int. And this way, when we say have 121 divided by 10, it's just going to give us 12. And what does that do? It strips that last digit. We don't want that last digit. And so now, what we do is we add the value of the last digit into reverse. But that's not the only thing we're going to do. We also need to shift the decimal place, because if we're adding, say we have 1 here, and we want to add the last digit, which was, say, 2, we don't want 1 to change to 3. No. We want to add it like, so it equals 12. So in order to do that, we got to multiply it by 10. And then we add that last digit. Say it was 2. And then we get 12. This way, you're simply using the 10 to move the decimal place. So let me write it out, and then I'll show you another example. So reversed will be equal to reversed times 10. That's for moving the decimal, plus the last digit. And again, that last digit is what we just stripped. So let's say it's 121. What we just stripped from it is that 1. Now, so when we start off, remember, we're setting reversed as 0. So we're going to have 0 times 10. That's still going to be 0. There's no decimal to move. It's the first one. That's fine. Plus whatever the last digit was. So let's say we were using 121 as x, right? And let's say we stripped 1 from it. Now we're adding 1 here, and we're left with 1 as our first digit for reversed. Okay, so the next time around, when we strip from 12, now we are left with 1 here, but this time around, it's going to be 1 times 10 plus the last digit, which was 2, and so now you have 12 instead of 3. So it's a very simple solution when you think about it, and now all you have to do is check to see if it's true or false, and we could use the same format we did in the original solution. So we can just do return reversed equals normal, and if it does, or we could actually just do x if we want to. So let's see if it does happen to work. Maybe we made a mistake along the way. Nope. Okay, so now let's submit it. Okay, everything looks great. So if you struggled with this problem, just a friendly reminder, you can consider hanging it up. McDonald's is still hiring. Yeah, that's it.